feel a responsibility as a pediatrician to take a leadership role in the area of the development of children. I'm specially trained. I've had 20 years of experience in this field. My career goal is to educate other pediatricians to be able to help parents raise their children in a sound fashion, in a way that really works for everyone. And discipline has become my specialty, quite logically so. So my role on the American Academy of Pediatrics Committee on Psychosocial Aspects of Children and Family Health is a very fortunate one for me, because I'm actually having a chance to put forward this information with the sponsorship of the Academy in a way that pediatricians can listen. I actually helped design a survey also that the Academy recently completed of 603 fellows of the Academy, which means practicing pediatricians. And we found some interesting things. One of the things we found out was that 35% of pediatricians felt that most or nearly all of their the families under their care wanted their advice on the subject of discipline. I think it's even higher than that, because in fact people don't ask about things that they don't think their pediatrician is prepared to answer. But these were randomly selected pediatricians, and for them at least a third of the families were asking. So what can the pediatrician do to help those families? Well, first of all, listen non-judgmentally. It's very important to do that, because people care about what their pediatrician thinks about them, and it's important for people to feel as though they're safe. And these days, people know that pediatricians can report them for child abuse, for example, and they may wonder if, in fact, the corporal punishment that they're using at home constitutes child abuse, and they may feel guilty about things that have happened. But the pediatrician can be the advocate for the child without being a policeman, at least the way things are right now. And that's the ideal position for the pediatrician to be an educator for the family, to help them move to a higher level of functioning, to do a better job as parents, to keep their children healthier, and to promote their development. And that's really our goal, according to the American Academy of Pediatrics, and what I believe pediatricians and other family physicians should do. So listen non-judgmentally to the family. Elicit from them what their views about discipline are. Use their words in responding, and do so in such a way that the family feels as though they've been respected in the conclusions they've come to, and also that they understand that how they were disciplined has influenced them. And actually, sometimes this is the key to a pediatrician being able to help a family make change, and that is to help them see, well, I was hit when I grew up, and I came out all right, but the next question after that is, what's your relationship with your father like now? Well, I haven't seen him in 5 years. And that maybe they can start to understand that how they were dealt with by their family influenced those relationships for a long time to come. That gives them some motivation to change. The next thing they need is tools, because in fact, people often say, well, I heard about this timeout thing and I tried it, but it didn't work. Well, that's not the way parenting goes. Parenting requires enormous numbers of repetition. That's true for corporal punishment as well as for non-corporal punishment, that children take a long time to learn a new habit, although a long time isn't really so long. 3 or 4 weeks is enough to make a change in a child's behavior using a new method. Teach them tools such as the use of timeout, such as the use of giving positive reinforcement for the desired behaviors, and choosing small enough behaviors to reinforce, and choosing small enough consequences. The combination of that kind of instruction and some praise for the parents in the areas where they're being successful in their discipline already, and almost every family will have something they do well. And it's a rare family who is not doing something right. They basically would be in a situation of almost overt neglect if they hadn't found some strategies that work. One of the ones we most often see in the office is the look. Mother can give the child the hairy eyeball and the child settles right down. That's something to praise and to actually reinforce the parent's ability to control behavior using affective cueing. In order for that to work, of course, it helps if that is an adequately strong response. So a child who is being hit routinely may not find a scowl to be adequate. It also depends on the child's temperament, too. Some methods will work with some children, and a more intense response might be necessary with another child. So helping the parents understand their own child's situation, helping them have confidence in using strategies they've already found that work, and helping give them new information that's available on how to have methods that work for them that have been of proven effectiveness. So having people understand how to use timeout or removal of privileges, or and appropriately small consequences, combined with praise and reinforcement for positive behaviors, and combined with an adequate parent-child relationship with enough attention to the child so that they're not acting up in order to get attention. So keeping in mind the meaning of the behavior and looking at those pieces, you can actually help with a family problem solve their own discipline situation that they're having with an individual child. This is very valuable to people. They don't want to have to go to a psychiatrist or psychologist. They may not have the resources to do that, and not every family could. There aren't enough to go around. So pediatricians are a resource for families that really could help us change the whole culture when it comes to raising children with discipline that's respectful of the child but also effective. So understanding those two principles is really important. Actually, it's not easy for doctors to bring up the subject of discipline with patients, because often the patients have quite high emotions about the subject, and they have high emotions because they learned discipline in situations of high emotion when they were being disciplined as children. But that's actually getting even harder now, because your patients are also your customers these days, and so it's harder to bring up subjects that may be difficult and may cause people to have hurt feelings or to feel judged. So all of those things can make it more difficult for pediatricians. But in that survey that the Academy conducted recently, only 24% of pediatricians felt as though patients resented being asked about what kind of discipline they were using. So that's a fairly small number. And when you think about the benefits of being able to help people make a change and help them with what's now the greater morbidity or difficulties for their children are not health morbidities. They're not diseases by and large. They're behavioral concerns. They are failure to perform in school concerns. There are things like that that families are bringing to their pediatrician and hoping for advice. So pediatricians need to be brave and to have tools for dealing with these things. I think that when a pediatrician does experience a parent getting upset about the conversation, they need to be sure that they're listening in a non-judgmental way, and also that they're prepared to provide praise to the parent for what a good job they've done in other areas, and have it be an educational session and not a criticism session where the doctor is the judge. You know, often parents actually feel that they must physically punish their kids, and they feel that because of a social pressure for their children to behave well. They don't want people to think that their children, that they're disregarding the misbehavior of their children. And one way they know to show people that they're sincere about it is to hit them. In fact, in one national survey where they actually recorded this information, 7% of parents hit their child during the interview while they were interviewing them on the subject of corporal punishment. So parents often feel as though that's a way of signaling their concern. For pediatricians, I also tell them that when families hit their children in the context of a visit to the doctor, they may also be putting up a red flag that says, I'm in trouble here, I've lost it with my child, I haven't got control of my child, please help me. And to use that as an entree for a conversation about discipline and showing that you can be helpful to them. So the fact that the family is feeling pressure to have their child behave well may actually be a good motivator to be able to make a change.